So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially those who are in Hawaii. I just felt like making a quick video about some of the challenges about being a dad, in particular in Hawaii. It doesn't mean that being a mom is not hard. It's just being a dad is pretty hard. And so I just wanted to reflect on what I've learned about being a dad, things that my dad never really said, but he demonstrated for us growing up, little kid time, and things that I'm trying to do, and a lot of those moments where I just think, oh yeah, my dad was right. Again, even though he didn't say these things, he demonstrated those things for us. I'm lucky to have such a great dad, and he's still around, and I'm able to ask him things, and he's so encouraging to me as a young dad now of a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so I just want to kind of just talk story and just acknowledge that, yeah, if you're a dad out there, a grandpa, or a dad figure out there, especially here in Hawaii, hope you feel encouraged.
Hello from Hawaii.
So I think the biggest thing that my dad demonstrated for me and taught us, he didn't have to say it, he just taught us, was that being a good dad is about time. It's not about money. And I think oftentimes, because it's so expensive here in Hawaii, we think we just gotta go work, right? As dads, we just gotta go out, make as much money as we can because, you know, the kids wanna do all these things. They like go private school, they wanna go on trips, and you gotta have a big car, and, you know, all the things, right, that people want or they think that they need to have. But actually, my dad, he worked a great job. He still works that same job. And he's always been able to provide for our family. We had a house growing up, we had 2 cars, you know, we did sports. We did all these things, we traveled, but really my dad was always there. And it's that time that, looking back now, I really appreciate. If you can sacrifice your time for your kids, to me that is what shows that you're a great dad, that you're there for your kids, that you encourage them, that you talk to them, and that you're just there. And it's through that example of my dad in Hawaii here that I'm trying to do the best that I can with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. You know, it's so expensive, and we got so many things that we gotta try and do, and we want to do. And I didn't realize the amount of sacrifice of my time, my energy, my personal interests, and even to some extent my career. And those are things that you don't like talk about, you don't really bring up, but those are things that I feel like as a dad, at least a good dad, in my opinion, those are things that you end up having to give up, because the time it takes to be with your kids, you can't necessarily pursue those things. Speaking of kids, my son just woke up. So I wish that I had time to go watch basketball games and football games and all this other stuff, you know, and it doesn't add value to the family, is my view. It's nice to be able to enjoy those things, and sure, if you didn't have kids or you're single, absolutely, that sounds like fun. But right now, I'm just trying to give as much time as I can to my kids, in between work, in between spending time with my wife, in between this whole YouTube thing. It's like the rest goes to the kids, and I think that's why it makes it so difficult. Are you gonna come over here now? Okay. Is he coming? Okay. So I got my one son here. He's probably gonna be marching around, maybe shaking the camera. Yeah. That's part of the sacrifice, right? It's not all cinematic. I also think dads in Hawaii, sometimes we don't get a lot of credit, you know? Like Mother's Day is like, oh, it's all like dolled up. Everybody, you know, go out with the leis, and you get the flowers, and you go out brunch and all of that. But sometimes I think Father's Day is a lot tougher. We get aloha shirt, which is good, but I think for a lot of people, you know, maybe Father's Day is a tough one, you know, because of the relationship with their dad. And so I just want to encourage other dads out there, you know, the role that you have in your kids is so important. It's hard to quantify that, the impact, you know, whether it's, you know, just socially, economically, emotionally, like, you can have on your kids, I think is so important. And I'm trying to be mindful of that right now. Before becoming a dad, I had no idea all the personal sacrifice and time and energy it would take. You know, the cost is so great, but it's worth it in the end. You know, right now at this age, my kids need a lot of attention. They need a lot of time. They just need me to be there for them. And yet there's a part of me that there's stuff that I want to do. There's stuff that I could be doing. You know, there's stuff that is very appealing that I could justify is even for the good of the family. But again, through what my dad has shown me, there's plenty of time later on for that kind of stuff. You may not get it immediately, and that ambition and that drive and all of that is good. You know, those are good things. But I think not more important than family. Like, for example, I think about like golf. You know, I think about golfing, and man, I miss it sometimes. I have dreams about golf, but like I miss it. Yeah, I miss going out there and playing golf, and I miss being good at golf. You know, I mean, I used to be like a 3 or 4 handicapper, and I can't imagine being a 3 or 4 handicapper right now with 2 kids, because if I were to be that good at golf, it would take time, money, of course, but it would take time away from the family. I'd be golfing, you know, 3 or 4 times a week. You know, on the weekends I'd be gone, and sure, I'd be a great golfer, but my kids would not know who I am. They would just be like, oh, you're the guy that comes every so often. And that's not the kind of dad that I want to be, you know? And so I have to put that on the side for now. And maybe in the future I can go back to golf when they're a lot older. Maybe we can golf together, I don't know. But like, I have to be able to put that aside. And that's really hard. I don't think that gets talked about enough, is as a dad, the stuff you got to put on the side in order to be a good dad. So for the dads that are out there who understand what I'm talking about, like, I hope that you know that you're not the only one. Because sometimes, you know, it can feel like, oh gosh, maybe I feel like I'm the only dad that does it. But no, I know that there are other dads who do it out there, who give up a lot. And again, it's not stuff that you go out bragging about or you post about. It's a lot of small sacrifices each day, each week, each month, that over the course of a year or a decade, it adds up quite a bit. But you're reinvesting that time and energy into your kids, and I think that's gonna pay off in the end. I'm really appreciative that I grew up with a great dad, but also a dad who was able to change with me as I grew up and I changed. When I was a little kid, obviously spent like a lot of time together, but as I got older, I didn't really want to spend a lot of time with him, but my dad was very strict. You know, he kept the line real strong, and then eventually I grew up, grad high school, and then went off to college, and my dad was so supportive when I went away. You know, our relationship had changed from like my senior year in high school to freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year in college. It was totally different. You know, he would email me and check up on me and ask what I was doing, take pictures. There was this webcam on top of my dorm, I remember, and then it would like update what the weather was like. It would like take a screenshot every so often, and then my dad could see like, oh, was it snowing that day? You know, was it cloudy that day? Was it bright? You could see the snow melt, you know, and my dad would send me emails and he would comment on that, you know, and just want to know how I was doing. And now that I'm grown up and have my own family and I'm a dad, you know, my dad again has transitioned to being grandpa for our kids here, and just the encouragement that he gives to me, you know, being a dad. There's no instructions, right? There's no instructions to being a dad. And you can really only emulate your own dad. And so I try the best that I can, make mistakes, and my dad's just always been encouraging, you know, to watch me grow up to be a dad, not just a man, right? But to be a dad to our kids here. Because it's hard sometimes, you know, like when I want to just relax and sit on the couch and do nothing after work, it's like, oh, I gotta go do something, or I gotta go, you know, we gotta go beach, or, you know, we gotta go walk around. And sometimes I just want to relax, you know. But again, those small sacrifices that you make, you know, it's gonna be worth it. I know it can be hard sometimes. I know it's busy. You gotta drive through traffic. You gotta pick up the kids, and you know, they act up. You know, I get it. You know, hopefully you feel encouraged. And if anything, I hope that you know that you're doing a great job, because your job as a dad is really important. And especially in a place like Hawaii, where family is supposed to mean something, right? Ohana is supposed to be really at the center of this culture, not just your biological family, but, you know, even Hanai extended family. Like, it's supposed to be the core of this culture. And I think that you know, a role as a dad is so important. So I hope that you know that your role out there is really important, even if no one says anything, even though the kids drive you crazy, even though you're tired and you just want to do nothing, and you like go fish, or you know, you like go golf, or you just want to cruise on the couch. You know, I hope that you feel encouraged that, you know, you are important out there. So that's all I got for you today. Kind of unscripted video, but you know, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Thanks for watching, and aloha.
Hello